Have you ever felt trapped, pinned between a rock and a hard place, with no way out? It's a feeling we all know. But what if I told you about a time when an entire nation faced a situation like this, on a scale almost impossible to imagine? This is the story of Moses and the crossing of the Red Sea, a tale of desperation, faith, and a miracle that has echoed through millennia. Let's set the scene. The Israelites, after generations of brutal slavery in Egypt, have just been set free, led by a man named Moses. They're on their way to a promised land, a new beginning. They've witnessed 10 plagues, incredible displays of power that convinced the mighty Pharaoh to let them go. Freedom is finally within their grasp. They are a massive crowd, men, women, children, and livestock, carrying what little they own, their hearts filled with a mix of hope and anxiety. But their journey is far from over. A state travail, a pillar of cloud guides them by day, and a pillar of fire illuminates their path by night. It's a constant, visible reminder that they are not alone. Following this divine guidance, they find themselves camped by the shores of the Red Sea. In front of them, a vast, uncrossable body of water. Behind them, the wilderness. It seems like a strange place to stop, a dead end. By Kinegipit, Pharaoh is having second thoughts. He sees the departure of his entire slave labor force, and his heart hardens. All that free labor, gone. His military advisors are probably in his ear, telling him how weak this makes Egypt look. Consumed by rage and regret, Pharaoh makes a fateful decision. He summons his army, the most formidable fighting force in the ancient world. We're talking 600 of his best chariots, plus all the other chariots of Egypt, with commanders in every one. An overwhelming force, thundering across the desert in pursuit. Imagine the scene at the Israelite camp. A scout on a hilltop spots a cloud of dust on the horizon. It gets bigger and bigger. Then, the glint of bronze helmets. The rumble of thousands of chariot wheels shaking the very ground. Panic erupts. The people are terrified. They turn on Moses, their voices filled with fear and anger. Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. It's a moment of absolute crisis. Their newfound freedom feels like a cruel joke. They are trapped. The sea before them, Pharaoh's army behind them. There is no escape. This is the ultimate test of faith. What would you do in that situation? It's easy for us to judge, but their fear was real and completely understandable. But Moses, despite the immense pressure and the accusations of his own people, stands firm. He doesn't panic. He turns to the terrified crowd and delivers one of the most powerful lines in history. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Be still. In the middle of chaos, with an army bearing down on them, the instruction is to be still, to trust. It's a profound message. Sometimes the best action is to stop, quiet the noise, and have faith that a way will be made. Then, the divine instructions come to Moses. He is told to raise his staff and stretch his hand out over the sea. As Moses obeys, something incredible begins to happen. The pillar of cloud that had been leading them moves to the rear, positioning itself between the Israelites and the Egyptians. On the Egyptian side, it plunges the pursuing army into darkness and confusion. On the Israelite side, the pillar of fire continues to give light, a divine barrier holding back the enemy, buying precious time. Then, the miracle unfolds. A strong east wind begins to blow. All through the night, it howls across the water, pushing the sea back. The water begins to divide. It's not just a shallow path. The text says the waters were like a wall on their right and on their left. A dry corridor opens up through the very heart of the sea. Can you even begin to picture that? The roar of the wind, the sight of towering walls of water held back by an unseen hand, and a path of dry ground appearing where just moments before there was only a churning sea. It must have been both terrifying and awe-inspiring. With no time to waste, Moses leads the people into the sea. They walk on the dry ground, a nation on the move between liquid walls. The entire night is a massive procession of people and animals, hurrying toward the far shore, toward their future. The sound of their footsteps on the dry seabed, the nervous glances at the walls of water, the hope of survival burning bright. When morning dawns, the Egyptian army, no longer held back by the darkness, sees the Israelites escaping. Without hesitation, they charge into the sea path in pursuit. The chariots, the horses, the soldiers, all funnel into this unnatural canyon of water, determined to recapture their slaves. They are so consumed by their mission that they fail to recognize they are treading on holy, miraculous ground. But their powerful war machine is useless here. The chariot wheels get stuck in the mud. The horses panic. The once mighty army descends into chaos and confusion within the sea path. They realize too late what is happening. "Let's get away from the Israelites," they cry. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Just as the last Israelite steps onto the far shore, Moses receives another command. "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses raises his hand one last time, and the walls of water, held back by a miracle, are released. The sea crashes back into its place with immense force. The entire Egyptian army, the chariots, the horsemen, the pride of a powerful empire is swallowed by the waves. The Bible states it starkly. Not one of them survived. As the sun rises, the Israelites stand on the eastern shore, safe and free. They look back and see the bodies of their former masters washed up on the sand. The threat is gone, not just defeated, but utterly annihilated. The sea that was their barrier became their salvation, and the Egyptians' downfall. The emotional shift must have been staggering, from sheer terror and despair to overwhelming relief and joy. They didn't just escape. They witnessed a display of power that would define their identity as a people forever. The experience transforms them. Their fear turns to awe, and they place their trust in God and in Moses, their leader. Miriam, Moses' sister, takes a tambourine and leads the women in a song of victory, a song that has been sung for thousands of years since, a song of praise for a God who threw the horse and its rider into the sea. This story isn't just an ancient tale. It's a powerful metaphor for our own lives. We all face our own Red Sea, moments, situations that seem impossible, where we feel trapped with no way out. It could be a financial crisis, a health diagnosis, a broken relationship. We have our own pharaohs pursuing us, whether it's fear, anxiety, or past mistakes. The lesson of the Red Sea crossing is to be still and trust that a path will be made, even when we can't see it. It's about having the courage to step forward in faith, even when the path is through the middle of a sea and between two walls of water. It shows that sometimes our greatest obstacles can become the very instruments of our deliverance. What an incredible story of hope and redemption. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, when we are caught between the sea and the enemy, miracles are possible. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most powerful events. Until next time, stand firm.